Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about structure of kidney. We are doing chapter number 5, human body, excretory system. We have already discussed many topics like renal excretory system, which is related to kidney itself. But in this chapter, in this topic we are going to discuss basically about kidney. Okay, so please just follow my cursor, because first we will see the structure of kidney. So this is the structure of kidney. It looks like this. The first part, each kidney has two distinct layers, renal medulla. The outer one is renal medulla. It is the outer darker layer, and renal cortex, which is the inner lighter layer of kidney. So you can see the renal medulla is the outer layer of kidney, and renal cortex is the inner lighter layer of the kidney. Then medulla contain cone-shaped structure called renal pyramids. As you can see in the figure, this is one pyramid, this is another pyramid. So there are pyramid-like structures present in the kidney, and each pyramid has a nephron, which is a structural, basic, and functional unit of the kidney. So each of these renal pyramids have a nephron, which is structural and functional unit of kidney. Then each nephron, now we will study the structure of nephron in detail. Each nephron has Bowman's capsule, which is not shown in the figure. We will study Bowman's capsule when we will study about the formation of urine. So each Bowman capsule is is a narrow and twisted tubule and opens into a collecting duct. So when we talk about collecting duct, you are able to see pelvis. Pelvis is the main collecting duct. All the renal pyramids are connected to this pelvis. The pelvis is the main connecting duct. All the renal pyramid are connected to the pelvis, and which finally enters into ureter. As you know, in renal excretory system, the last part was ureter, which is connected to urinary bladder. So this pelvis, which collects the basically urine, we can say, which collects the it will connect. It is connected to ureter, which is connected into a urinary bladder. So Bowman's capsule continues behind as a narrow convoluted, means twisted tubules and open into collecting duct. All the collecting duct then passes through the medulla and enter renal pelvis, which opens into ureters. The Bowman's capsule encloses a network of blood capillaries. So Bowman's capsule is made up of blood capillaries, which is known as glomerulus, and Bowman's capsule and glomerulus together forms Malpighian body. This again and again this term is going to come, Malpighian body. Bowman's capsule and glomerulus together they form Malpighian body. So this is the structure of kidney. It has renal cortex, the renal medulla, the outermost part. Then we have renal cortex. Then there are numerous renal pyramids. Each of them has nephron. Each nephron has Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, which together known as Malpighian body. Then all the collecting ducts will finally open into pelvis. Collecting ducts function is to collect whatever is being produced by the kidney. So all the collecting ducts will finally open into the pelvis, which is connected to ureter, and ureter is the last part after urinary bladder. Ureter, you can see ureters are two narrow tubes that run from kidney and enters into urinary bladder. So this ureter, it will go into urinary bladder, and then after the urinary bladder, the urine will go through urethra. So ureter, then urinary bladder, then urethra. So this is the structure of kidney. um, then also the function of kidney is to filter blood. So renal artery, you are able to see the blood with waste products, it will go to the renal artery, which shows red color. Red color shows impure blood. Then the kidney will filter the blood, and the pure blood, which is shown by blue color, will go out of the body through sorry will go out of the kidney through renal vein. It is clean blood, and then it will be transported throughout the body. So we have came across many times that kidney filters blood. So through renal artery, the impure blood will enter the kidney, and through renal vein, the pure blood will come out of the kidney. Artificial kidney, as you can see here, it is written artificial kidney. Sometimes when kidney does not function properly, then artificially the blood has to be purified, which is known as dialysis by the machine called dialyser. Complete failure or malfunctioning of kidney causes accumulation of waste such as urea and uric acid in the blood. It can prove fatal, means life threatening, if no treatment is provided. So people with kidney failure are treated regularly on artificial kidney called dialyzer. This machine artificially filters the patient's blood and helps the body to get rid of accumulated waste. This process of purifying the blood is known as dialysis. So dialysis is done in that situation where kidney has stopped functioning, and when kidney is not functioning, then the blood which is filled with urea and uric acid we will flow throughout the body, and it can be a poison for the body. So a person cannot survive with such kind of situation. So his blood is purified artificially with the help of machine called dialyzer, and the process is known as dialysis, and this whole thing is called artificial kidney. So as you can see in fact zone, nephron is the structural and function unit of kidney, just like cell is the structural and function unit of body. Nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. The renal cortex and renal medulla of each kidney consist of millions of nephrons. If nephrons of both the kidneys are taken out and placed end to end, means if you connect the nephrons of both the kidneys, then distance covered will be 16 kilometers. So you can see kidney has is made up of this thing only. Okay, nephron. So two few things which you should remember. The outermost part of the kidney is renal uh, is renal medulla, then sorry, renal, yes, renal the renal medulla, renal cortex, then renal pyramid, and finally nephron is the structural and the functional unit of kidney. The next topic which we are going to discuss is blood supply of kidney. How do kidney helps in purification of blood? So each kidney receives its blood from renal artery. Now again we will look at the figure of kidney. As you can see, renal artery, it collects blood from the body. From whole body, renal artery will collect impure blood or the blood which has waste. And what is waste here? Same urea, uric acid, different amounts of nitrogenous product is a waste which is filled in the blood. So renal artery will collect that blood from the body. It will go to kidney. Okay, and then finally each kidney receives its blood supply from renal artery, okay, and is drained off by renal vein. And finally, when the whole blood is purified, then through renal vein it will go and circulated throughout the body. On entering the kidney through hilus, each renal artery divides into number of branches called arterioles. It is not shown in the figure. This arterioles is not shown in the figure, but each kidney has hilus, and each hilus has number of branches called arterioles. Then these arterioles enter renal cortex. Here each arteriole is subdivided into fine branches. Then this arteriole will enter renal cortex. As you can see the renal cortex in the figure, the branch of arteriole which enters Bowman's capsule is called efferent arterioles. So there is one branch of arteriole which is entering Bowman's capsule, that is known by the name efferent arteriole. Efferent or arteriole will break up into network of thin capillaries forming a knot called glomerulus. As we have studied that there are various blood capillaries in the Bowman's capsule, which is known by the name glomerulus. Okay, and the glomerulus then emerges out as efferent arteriole. The efferent arteriole is wider than efferent arterioles. So basically, what is happening, that each arterioles it enters into Bowman's capsule, which is known by the name efferent arteriole. Then it breaks up into very thin network, which is known as glomerulus, and then again it becomes as efferent. So when it is entering, then it is a double e f e r e n t efferent arterioles, and when it is coming out, then it is e double f e r e n t efferent arterioles. Now we will see what is the difference between efferent and efferent arterioles. Efferent and efferent arterioles. The efferent arterioles, after leaving glomerulus, forms dense network of capillaries called secondary capillary networks. So when the arterioles they come out of glomerulus, they form secondary capillary network. The tiny vessels of the network lead to larger vessels, and eventually the blood is carried to one of the two renal veins, and then renal vein will carry the blood back towards the heart. So basically the blood is collected from throughout the body through renal artery, and after purification through renal veins it is going throughout the body. Then hilus is the main artery through which all the arteries will enter or divide. Renal artery divides into number of branches called arterioles. These arterioles enters renal cortex. Here each arteriole is subdivided into fine branches. Okay, so when the arterioles have reached renal cortex, then very fine branches, as you can see in the structure of kidney, this line, the line जैसे structures, the line type of structure is this only, these lines, these line type structure is basically the branches of arterioles which enters into the Bowman's capsule, and then it breaks up into a network of thin capillaries forming node called glomerulus. So this is how blood supply takes place through the kidney. Now next topic is formation of urine. The process of urine formation, it takes place basically through four processes, which is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and excretion. So glomerular filtration, it occur, of course, as the name suggests, it occur in glomerulus. We can see the figure, glomerular filtration. So this is basically what is happening inside the kidney. Glomerular filtration, it occurs in glomerulus, which receive, now what happened, the glomerulus receive abhi, just now I told you that in uh, glomerulus receive impure bloods through different arteries of renal artery. Impure blood is received through glomerulus. The blood entering the glomerulus mainly contains what are all are the waste products which enters glomerular. Glomerular is water, dissolved salt, urea, uric acid, glucose. Okay, the narrowing of blood capillaries causes an increase in the pressure. So as you can see in the figure also, the this red color which is shown, the glomerular filtration, and this cup shaped structure is Bowman's capsule. So the blood capillaries become very thin. The reason why they become thin is to increase the pressure of the blood, due to which water and insoluble molecules present in the blood will get filtered out into the cavities of Bowman's capsule. So please follow my arrow. This is Bowman's capsule. This glomerular filtration takes, glomerular was a part of Bowman's capsule only, no? Bowman's capsule का part ही है glomerular. So this is Bowman's capsule. Here you can see the thin, very thin it is. The thinness, reason for thinness is to increase the pressure. If the pressure will increase, then the dissolved salt, soluble molecules such as urea, water, glucose are squeezed out of the blood into Bowman's capsule, and whatever is left behind is only water. Then the next process is tubular reabsorption. After the blood has been has been separated out of water, glucose, salts, etc., the filtrate of glomerular pass through the thin wall of Bowman's capsule and move forward in renal tubule. So now it is moving in renal tubule, where reabsorption of useful substances such as glucose, amino acids. Now it is essential to absorb important substances, amino acid, water, salts, etc., placed by renal blood capillaries. Useful substances such as water, glucose are taken back into the blood through network of capillaries. So these are network of capillaries. This one, and this one. These are the network of capillaries through which now useful substance will be absorbed. Now next process is tubular secretion. As you can see in the figure, in tubular secretion, additional wastes like urea, uric acid dissolves in the urine. The remaining liquid, along with some additional waste, urea, uric acid, is passed through both the ureters and collected in urinary bladder. And then finally, excretion takes place. Urine will pass out from the body through urethra. The urine from the kidney reaches into urinary bladder via through urethra. And when the urinary bladder is full, urine is passed out through the from the body into the help of urethra. So basically, glomerular this formation of urine has four processes: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption. Name you should not forget. So in glomerular filtration, because of thinning of blood vessels, the soluble substances, they are squeezed out. But sometimes, as since all the substance squeeze out, so some are not needed by the body, but some are useful for the body. So whatever is useful is reabsorbed. That's why the name is tubular reabsorption. Reabsorption of essential substances takes place. The non-essential one, the body will not reabsorb. They will be in the urine, but useful substances which are required by the body will be taken back. Now happens secretion. Additional waste like urea and uric acid will dissolve in the urine, and hence ultimately the next method is excretion. Excretion will take place. So this is the method of formation of urine. Next, we have Composition of urine, the major organic constituent of human urine. Composition means what all things urine contain. So you can look at the table. It has urea 2.3 gram per liter, uric acid zero point 0.7, creatinine 1.5, other substances 2.6, sodium chloride, ammonia, potassium chloride, sulfuric acid, others, etc. If there is some variation in the percentage or in the amount of any of these substances, then it is abnormal and it indicates certain critical situation. As you can see in the next table, if excess of sugar is found in the blood, in the urine, then it chances maybe of diabetes, jaundice, glucosuria. If there is a lot of bile pigment in the urine, then jaundice. If lot of blood cells are found in the urine, then kidney damage. If pus cells are found in urine, kidney infection. And if there is excess of water, then diabetes insipidus can be detected through urine. So urine basically have urea, uric acid, creatinine, and all the substances in the urine are present in some fixed ratio. If there is any variation from that fixed ratio, then it indicates some kind of disease or some kind of abnormality. So in this composition of urine only, they will be asking you what was the composition. The question can come like, what is the composition of urine. Then osmoregulation, this term will be asked as define the following, name the following. Many times it can come. Osmoregulation is basically the function of kidney with the help of which it regulates the amount of water. If you are drinking excess of water, then it will go from your body in the form of urine. And if you are not drinking excess of water, then kidney will manage that too. So kidney manages the water content, how much is required by the body. Kidney decides that this much amount of water is required and rest is excess, so it will come out in the form of urine. So that's why it is always advised to drink more and more water. Beside being excretory in function, kidney is osmoregulatory in nature. Two questions can be framed: what is osmoregulation, and which organ perform the function of osmoregulation. It maintains a steady, means a constant concentration of blood that flows through them. If blood is too dilute, less water is reabsorbed, leaving more to enter urinary bladder. If blood is too dilute, means if blood has already lot of water, then it will not reabsorb much water, and the excess of water will go in the form of urine through urinary bladder, urethra. But if there is shortage of water in the body due to profuse, means lot of sweating, if there has been some shortage of water, then at that time kidney will use more amount of water and less amount of water will be contributed to urine. These steady processes maintains the level of, so in this way the kidney regulates water, mineral in the blood, and together all the are called osmoregulation. So which part of the body controls this osmoregulation? Hypothalamus, which is present in the brain. It will direct the kidney, it will give instruction to the kidney to perform the function of osmoregulation. Okay, osmoregulation process will be performed by kidney on instructions of hypothalamus, which is present at the back of brain. Now, what is the need of osmoregulation? So it is very important because changes in the blood and tissue fluid can have great effect on the body. Everything in the body is present in fixed ratio. If there is disturbance in any of the fixed ratio, then it will create problem, whether it is water, whether it is any kind of vitamin, whether it is protein, anything. If there is more than required water in the body, then water will move into the cells. If body has more than the amount of water it requires, then there may be chances that water will move into your cells and then it can even burst. And if there is less water, then the cells may shrink. Therefore, in both the cases, normal functioning of the body will be disturbed, it will be hampered. Okay, so it's very much important to regulate the amount of water, because excess as well as deficiency of water can be harmful for the normal functioning of the body. Now let us see enrichment. There are various steps which are involved in the dialysis. First, the blood from, as I again just remember one thing, that from renal artery always impure blood will go to the body, and from renal vein pure blood will go from the kidney. Renal artery function is to collect the blood from the body and give it to kidney for filtration, and after filtration the blood will go out from the kidney through renal vein. So as you can see in the figure, renal artery, renal vein. So renal artery, as hand is shown, in renal artery one pipe is fixed, and in renal vein another pipe is fixed. So blood from renal artery will go into the dialyser, which is a machine. it will get filtered there, and the pure blood will go to renal vein. There are two, see, as you can see it, blue and red. Red shows impure blood, blue shows pure blood. So one connection is made into the red color, and as you can see, which is renal artery, and after filtration the blood will become pure, which is blue in color. It will go to renal vein. So this is basically showing how dialysis takes place. Now next topic is common disorder of urinary system. There are many various disorders, means various problems in urinary system. First is UTI, urinary tract infection. If infection occurs in urinary tract, which can be caused due to bacteria when they enter bladder, or if so severe that they may enter kidney also, ureters in urethra, all the urinary all this excretory system they can damage. It is very common in children. If you urinate in some unhygienic place, then this UTI can occur. Okay. Then there are other problem like kidney stones. There are stones in kidneys, जिन्हें पथरी कहते हैं. Now let us see UTI in detail. Urinary tract infection is caused. How it is caused? When bacteria they reach your urinary bladder, kidney, ureters, and very much common in children. However, people of all ages can get affected. So what are the symptoms? Urine will be when you do urination, you will feel burning sensation in your urethra, and smell will come. Again and again you want to go to urine. Frequent urge of urination. A person who's having UTI will go urine after every 10 minutes. Fever can be there, vomiting. You may feel nausea, some kind of discomfort. Waking up at night a lot. At night when you are sleeping, again and again the person will wake up for urinating. There may be pain in abdomen, lower part of the stomach. There may be pain, and very bad smell may come from the urine. Foul smelling urine, which look cloudy or some whitish in color, or may contain blood, is the main symptoms of UTI. So fact zone we can see infections are occurred because of disease causing germs. Urinary tract infection, if someone is going through that problem, then they should drink extra liquid, more and more fluid, because if you drink more and more water, then more and more infection will, bacteria and all will come out of your body through urine. This helps in making urine less concentrated, so that disease causing bacteria can be easily washed out from the body. If you drink more and more water, then those bacteria and all those agents may come out from your body with the help of urine itself. So UTI is a common infection, and if not controlled on time, then it starts from urinary bladder, but if not controlled on time, it can go to ureters, it can even go to kidney, and then it becomes difficult to control, and also severe situation. So if in the beginning only if UTI can be controlled, then it is good. Now next is kidney stone. The next problem which we were discussing of disorders of kidneys is kidney stones. Kidney stones are small masses of salts, and everybody knows about stone pathri, which we call. They can be in gallbladder also, or also in kidney. There are salts and minerals. They may accumulate inside the kidney and may travel up to urinary tract. Kidney stones can be from very smaller size to a sufficiently big as tennis ball. Symptoms is blood in urine and pain in abdomen. The basic mm, symptom of urine of kidney stone is pain. Mainly pain is seen in a kidney stone. Surgical technique may be used for stones which do not pass through the ureters to bladders on their own. Sometimes what happens, if you drink more and more liquid, then these kidney stones may travel through your ureters and finally come out from the urine without even being noticed. But if the situation is not like this, that they are not coming because they are larger in size, if kidney stone is of sufficient large size, then it may not come out on its own. So in that situation, some surgical treatments are required to get rid of the kidney stones, because they are very painful. Then excretory product versus waste product. So this difference you should see. Excretory products are excreted by kidney. They are urea, uric acid, and ammonia. Whereas waste product can be from any part of the body. It can be carbon dioxide, which is coming out through lungs. It can be undigested food in the form of fecus, which is given out from anus, from rectum, and finally through anus. Excess of water, which comes out of the body through sweat. Excess of salt, which comes out of the body through sweat, or excess of salts, minerals, which comes out of the body through urine. So basically, excretory products are only related to kidney, urea, uric acid, and ammonia, whereas waste product can be from any part of the body like carbon dioxide gas, water, which is coming out of as a form of sweat, water vapor, which comes out from the lungs during respiration, undigested food in the form of feces when comes out through anus and rectum. So waste product is can be from any part, whereas excretory product are basically strictly uh, linked to kidneys. So let's recapitulate. You will read uh, yourself and go through the exercises part, go through the this topic which we have read. So I think we can now we can stop this class. Please repeatedly everybody see video again and again and just read the chapter carefully.